Hey everybody, welcome to Garden Time with Belle. Today I've got a lot of miscellaneous things on my to-do list. It is a gorgeous day here in mid-Missouri and I'm going to take advantage of it. So a couple of things on my to-do list. Number one, I'm going to go in here and check on my seedlings. I'm down in my basement and I have a little table set up, as you might have seen in some earlier videos, with some of my seedlings that I like to start in the house. Especially when we've been having really cold temperatures at night. So anyhow, I want to see how they're doing, and I'm probably going to take a couple of these trays and transfer them from in the house out to the greenhouse where it's much warmer, and now our days are a little bit longer. We're getting more light, so that's on the list to do. And then, so let's go in here and check out my seedlings. I'm sorry to say that my exercising that I try to do is kind of been on the back burner. So I've been using this space for some of my seedlings, as I mentioned. So yeah, so let's check it out. I think that several of these are ready to go out in the greenhouse and get into a warmer environment. Our basement stays pretty chilly, even though it's heated, you know, it's pretty chilly out here. So I think I'm gonna be taking most of these trays out to the greenhouse. So come along. Now that I've got my seed cell trays from the basement out here in my greenhouse, I need to put some water in the basins, get them on their stands, because you know I love to use the self-watering system from Grow Ease. So super simple to do. You pop the stands in, just like so. You pop the wicking mat on top and you tuck in the edge so it's down in the water. You've seen me do this before, and let's do it to this one. All right, now I just need water. I'll just fill these up, soak down that wicking mat, and fill the basin. I've never measured how much water each basin takes. Honestly, I should probably look that up for you all, but not a lot. And even in my greenhouse, when it gets warm, I can probably go 3 days between having to water these again, which is really convenient when you're doing tending to all these little baby seedlings, that I'm not having to water them every day. Oh my gosh, I don't have time for that. So that's why I love the convenience of these self-watering seed trays. So there's that one. So let's see, what are these little beauties? You can barely see them, but I can see them. And this is my celosia. So that's going to go there. Never grew them before. And in this tray I've got parsley, chives, and onions. So I'll put them on that. And then I just need to do these two last trays and we'll be good to go. So the first thing on my to-do list today is complete. You got to see me bring in to the greenhouse my seed trays. I had 4 or 5 that were in the basement hanging out. They have all germinated, so it's time to bring them out in the greenhouse and give them more light and more warmth. So they are set up behind me, and I'm feeling really proud of the progress I've made so far. Next thing on the to-do list is to direct sow seeds in my raised bed. One of my previous videos you might have seen, I already did some direct sowing out in the raised bed garden, and those were greens like spinach, arugula, lettuce, and escarole, and also a batch of sugar snap peas. So those are already germinated and sprouted. They're looking good, but I need to add some more crops to the list. So today I am going to be direct sowing cosmos, flowers, apricota is the variety, and the other variety is Japanese Kuro. So pretty. You're going to notice when you see me sowing them, I'm going to be sowing them at the end of one of my raised beds, or two different raised beds that have cattle panel trellises built in the ends so that they can grow up and be supported by those. So that's on my list. And then now let's get to the veggies. Let's see here, different veggies. So golden beets. I prefer golden beets over the red beets. I don't know, for some reason the red beets kind of taste a little muddy to me, but I really do love roasting beets, beet salads. So I'm going to try my hand at golden beets. And like I shared in one of my, I guess the video that came out just very recently, my last video, is I'm trying stuff I've never tried before. Like, you know, what could go wrong? They might not work, but you know, I think I spent, what, $2.50 on this packet of seeds, and I got 250 beet seeds, so it's not a huge investment to give it a try. Swiss chard, isn't that gorgeous? This is a rainbow variety of Swiss chard called 5 Colors Silver Beet. 3 different types of radishes. Early Scarlet, French breakfast. Oh, why? I haven't had any breakfast this morning. Maybe that's why I can't talk. French breakfast radish, and a Johnny seed mix for radishes called red meat. If you've never grown radishes before from seed, I would say these are probably your best starter seeds to try because they grow super fast. By the time you get them in there in the ground, in the dirt, water them in, they will sprout very quickly. Let's see, sprouts in 3 to 6 days. So some quick gratification, and not only do they sprout quickly, but they grow quickly to harvest. Let's see what it says here. Harvest time, I don't see on here how quickly, but it's just a few weeks and you will have radishes. So if you are gardening with little ones and they need to see things happen quick, this is a wonderful crop to start off with your seed sowing. So I would encourage you to try radishes. And then I'm going to try 2 different varieties of carrots. I've had mixed results with my carrots. Carrots can be finicky in that they may take anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks to germinate, and you want to make sure they stay moist. They stay in the ground and those seeds stay moist. If they dry out, it can really mess with your germination. They're also teeny tiny specks of seeds, and so it's very hard to space them when you're direct sowing. I'm going to just try to do my best, but I know that I'll have to come back and thin them once they germinate and get up, you know, about this tall or so. I probably want to thin them because if they're crowded, think of it, it's a root crop. If they're crowded, they won't have enough soil underneath them to grow if they're all bunched together. So the 2 varieties I'm going to try, I've never tried this one from Baker Creek, New Kuroda, I don't know, but they have great sweetness supposedly, and they're supposed to be really, really prolific. So I'm going to try that. And from Johnny's, I'm going to try their Glow Sticks Moonrise Mix, and these should give me different colors of carrots. And as an avid cook, I love carrots in every kind of application in the kitchen, from roasting carrots to grilling carrots, fresh and raw carrots, carrot stew, carrot soup. Oh, I am a carrot fan. So I'm going to try that. And last but not least, I actually should have already started some cilantro. Cilantro, as you know, is very popular in Asian cuisine and in Mexican, Latin cuisine. I am a cilantro fan. However, research shows that not everyone is a fan, because if you have a particular gene, you will, when you taste cilantro, you will have a soapy taste in your mouth. There really is a genetic predisposition for either loving cilantro or not. I am so glad that my genetics allow me to love the taste of cilantro, so I'll be growing that. This is pretty much a cool weather crop. So once it gets hot in mid-Missouri where I garden, it bolts, it goes to seed, and it gets bitter. So I try to succession sow, meaning I sow these every couple of weeks and try to stretch it as far into the summer season as I can, but then they're done basically. And I might try again in the fall when it cools off to grow some, maybe in September and October. So I've got a couple different varieties here. This is some Baker Creek that I've grown before. The slow bolt, and I mentioned bolting is where they grow, but then all of a sudden they send up seed heads and try to flower, and then they turn bitter. So I'm gonna grow some of these as well. So that's the plan for direct sowing beautiful flowers, veggies, and herbs in my raised beds today. That's on the list of things to do. But I love to be organized. You know that. And so I like a good label in the garden. And these are my big labels that I like to use outside because I can see them, for one. The little tiny labels, I got to bend over, get too close to the soil, and I can't see from a distance what it is that I've grown. So here's the deal, though. I don't like to waste plastic, and I try not to buy a lot of plastic. But in this case, these really hold up, and so I did. But I need to do some labels, and so I'd like to get my old labels from last year off, unless I'm going to be growing, you know, the exact same varieties, which I may later in the season. I've tried everything to get this off. I've tried nail polish remover. I have tried Goof Off or Goo Gone. You've seen that. Doesn't work. What else have I tried? Those are the main two things. So my husband said, try some brush cleaner. You know, this is what you use to clean paint off of your brushes and tools, and I would imagine it is pretty powerful. So it says no odor, less harsh on the skin, but I think I'm going to give it a go. I'll take you along and see if I can get these cleaned up a little bit and then make labels for everything. And then finally, after the preparation is done, we're going to head out to the garden and get these in the raised beds. Garden chores are done for the day. I feel like I got a lot accomplished, and thanks for hanging out with me today as I direct sowed lots of veggies, some herbs, and you got to see me put in some cosmos that will end up growing up these trellises, and I'm just super excited. Most of the things that I grew today are cool weather crops, or on the back of the seed packet it tells you how many weeks before your last frost you should be direct sowing. So pay attention to your seed packets and do the math, and just go back and figure out how many weeks ahead of your last frost you need to get them in the ground. So if you're not sure when your last frost date is, it is just a simple Google search. So just go online and search for when is the last average frost date in my area of the US. They'll ask you to input your zip code, and from there you'll be able to know when to start your seeds, when to plant things, whether you're starting from seed like I did today here out in the garden, or you're putting in mature plants. That's a really important thing for you to know. And of course, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel so that I can reach more gardeners.